Hi, it's Sunday night, and I just spent the whole day walking around the Tower of London. So I wanted to take advantage of my last full day off to do something big, so that's why I did the Tower of London. But I want to talk in this video about some of my favorite moments, and actually a lot of them are really small, but let's start with the big stuff. All right, so one of the first things that I did when I got into town is I went to the National Gallery, and it was really crazy. Like, I walked in, and like the first gallery that I walked into, like there hanging on the wall is like one of my favorite paintings. And so I basically just like, one of the first things I did in London was walk straight into one of my favorite paintings. It's The Ambassadors by Hans Holbein. It's an incredible painting. And I like really almost lost it. I wasn't expecting, I mean, I knew it was in that museum, but I wasn't expecting to see it like immediately, like the first thing that I see. And I've made friends here now who work in museums, and they talk about that there's a whole name for people losing it in museums, and it's called like Stendhal syndrome or something like that. But it was just incredible to round the corner and walk into this room full of paintings, and there is the Ambassadors, and I love it so much because, of course, it's exquisitely painted and it's extremely, extremely old. But what's really incredible is that you're not even going to notice there's an enormous skull at the bottom of smeared through the bottom of the canvas, and until somebody points it out to you, and then you're like, whoa, jeez. Man, and it's pretty amazing that he painted that way back when, perfectly, without any technology to help. Anyway, I guess another time I nearly had Stendhal syndrome was just yesterday when I went to Somerset House. They have the Courtauld Gallery and all the Impressionists, and I walked up to a painting, a really pretty painting of a train and tracks and beautiful rolling hills with some buildings set among them, and and then I read the the little plaque that goes with it, and it's Pissarro, and the name is Lordship Lane, Dulwich. And I like really nearly lost it again. And to know why, you're gonna have to stick around for a bit, because I'll explain why later. So now small things. Okay, so that was big things, and that was small things. I really have loved going for my runs, my little exploratory runs, and in particular, I loved exploring Sydenham Hill Wood. It's an ancient forest. It's part of the Great North Wood, which is shown on maps dating to the 1600s. So it is an ancient, ancient wood. And like when I was exploring it for the first time, it felt like I had been transported back to that, forest in The Princess Bride, the one I'm talking about. And just these incredible old trees, hundreds of years old, and like then I came across this like Victorian folly, which was all that was left of the Victorian estate that had been there when Crystal Palace was doing the Universal exhibition just down the road. And discovering Cox's Walk, that oak-lined avenue, which is dates from 1730, which is not only one of the oldest oak-lined avenues in London, but also predates the United States of America, right? So pretty cool. But another really cool thing about Sydenham Hill Wood is that there's a footbridge, and that footbridge was erected over the train tracks when the train tracks were laid down. in order to appease the family that owned the Victorian mansion that went with the Folly, all right? Because everybody wanted to go to Crystal Palace, and so the train line needed to go through there, but it was through this family's property, and so they put a footbridge over the tracks. And it is from that bridge, that footbridge, that Camille Pissarro painted Lordship Lane, Dulwich. Lordship Lane Station, Dulwich. That's why it was a huge deal when I came face to face with that painting, because I knew in theory that Pissarro had painted something from that footbridge looking at the train tracks, but I didn't know what it looked like. And then to come face to face with that painting was just like, oh, this is what he painted on that bridge. It was a great moment. Okay, another like little memory I hope I never forget is the first ecstatic dance that I went to here is a woman's ecstatic dance up in Telegraph Hill Center, which is like 2.5 miles away from home. And 2.5 miles is just not a lot to me, so I decided that even though it was going to be like 11:30 at night, I was going to just run home, right? But these like British ecstatic dances, they always have cacao, always. Like it's like apparently they think it's really strange to have an ecstatic dance without cacao, which whatever, okay. So I had cacao for the first time at this ecstatic dance, and you know, I felt the effects. It was really like almost hallucinatory. I was not hallucinating, but it was just everything seemed like a vaguely surreal, and I felt very, very present. And so I was running home at 11:30, still under the influence of this cacao. So just picture this like street with you know, this street in South London in the middle of the night, dark with like street lights and some traffic, and just running to get home, and like if that wasn't like weird enough, there were foxes. There were all these foxes. Like there would be this fox that would start crossing the road and then see me and then go stop and think for a bit and go, oh, maybe not a good idea. And then turn around and like slink off, or like would turn the corner for home and there would be this fox. It's like, whoa, these foxes are everywhere. And like, it's true, every time I ran home from ecstatic dance, I saw at least 2 foxes. So like they are around. The last memory I really am going to cherish is doing yoga on the top of Blythe Hill. It has a beautiful, beautiful view of downtown from the top of Blythe Hill. You can see both sets of skyscrapers. So the one set over to the right is over by Canary Wharf, and then the other set with over to the left, it's got the Shard and it has the Gherkin and the walkie-talkie and the cheese grater. That's all like the financial district. And you can see both sets so beautifully from the top of Blythe Hill. And so I would go to the very top of Blythe Hill and I would camp out with my Bluetooth speaker and do yoga. And like these British parks are so wonderful because these sedate British people will be you know, they'll be there with their picnics, they'll be sitting on the benches, or they'll bring a blanket, or they will, you know, be walking their dogs, and they're very, it's very peaceful, right? And now you have this crazy American who's doing yoga by herself on the top of this hill. But whatever, I really enjoyed myself, so if I looked crazy, that's fine. So those are some of the memories I'm really going to cherish from my time here. And next time I talk to you, I'll be in Paris.